Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to fix Civilization 7. And this is, of course, my ideas and my thoughts, but these are a few of the things I think they could do to fix and save Civilization 7 and make it improve it so it can be a better game. Well, first thing I would like to see in the game is that they add an Antiquity Age version, Exploration Age version, and Modern Age version of all released civilizations. In this way, you can have civilizations going from start to finish, and you can choose to continue, for instance, as the Romans, or you can choose to switch to another civ. And for me, this would fix the problems a lot of people have with they don't want to switch. So for people who want to switch, they can do it. For people who want to stay with the same civilization, they could do it as well. And if you see a strategic opportunity, you can choose to switch, but maybe you find it better to stay the same. So that would fix some of the complaints for me, at least. Well, another thing I would see is that they should add some more ages, because the game feels shallow, it feels a bit empty, and I would love them to make Information Age as a free update, as the last age after Modern, and it should be for all owners given free, so you actually can build a civilization that can stand the test of time, because right now it ends after World War I or something, maybe World War II. Yeah. So add the Information Age as, I would say, the 5th age, because in addition to the 3 that are now, the Antiquity, the Exploration, and the Modern, I would like them to add at least also a Medieval Age. And a Medieval Age should have the fun from the medieval era. It should have maybe more mechanics for being a vassal, being the feudal overlord, and they should go into that. So for me, Medieval Age should be age number 2, and Information Age should be age number 5, and then you would have a much better age progression and a feeling that you actually build a civilization that can stand the test of time. So for me, that's important. And I would also like them to add more civilizations, because I think the game was quite empty at launch, and I'm missing some civilizations that for me is like some of the fun of the game, like the Norse Vikings. Some leaders should definitely be there, like Gandhi. I would like the Norwegian king Harald Fairhair. Otto von Bismarck could be there, Churchill. And I just think they should add more leaders and more civilizations to the base game for free, so that all owners can have more depth and more variability and more replayability of the game. In addition, I mentioned the extra ages I would like to see added. I also feel that especially the Exploration Age and the Modern Age, they feel unfinished and they feel rushed and quite shallow. So I hope they someday can add more depth, more fun, and more player choice and more history to those ages. And my, the religion gameplay, it definitely needs to improve, because as it is now, it's not that fun, and it's so much worse than in Civilization 5 or 6. So it just has to improve. And you can even, for me, you can just take the system you had in 5 or 6, put it into 7, and everyone will be much happier than we are today. And another point for me, I think it's under communicated the visual presentations of what civilizations the leaders are leading. So it's kind of hard to see if Augustus are leading the Romans, if he's leading the Carthaginians or whatever. I want them to make the presentation of which civilization the leaders are leading much more distinct. So you can see in a glance that, okay, Augustus is leading the Romans now. And I also would very much like a screen on each age transit that would inform all players in the game about what the known leaders choose to play as in the next age, so that if Augustus chooses to switch into another civilization for the exploration age, you should get a notification for that, so that the next time you meet him, you remember that, okay, Augustus, he's not longer the Romans, he's now the Ming or something. Yeah. And adding to that, I would also like them to name the civilizations after their ancient civilization name and then their current civilization in some way, so that you can meet like the Persian Roman, the Persian Norman civilization, maybe the Roman Spanish civilization, and that would help me remember that, okay, now Xerxes is leading the Normans, but the last age he was leading the Persians, and therefore they are named the Persian Normans, for instance, or something like that, to make the game feel more that it's one large game instead of 3 lesser games that are cut in pieces. Yeah. I would also like to see them make the age switches less abrupt, because at the present it feels too hard a switch. The transition is too hard. So I would like them to maybe let every army retain his or her position. Maybe let the building effects carry over, and maybe let the wars carry over, so they just don't end on age switch. But some of the things I kind of like, and they could, to me at least, let be there. I think the mechanic when you have too few commanders and lose a few armies if you have too few commanders, I think that's kind of good. And also I think it's kind of good that the policy cards are reset, so you have to start building your government again. And it's also okay, I guess, that some cities revert to towns, although I myself would like it to be a little more dependent on how you play it, so that maybe you can get rewarded to have 1 or 2 cities more stay a city. I know you can have it by some of the legacy card rewards, but I still think you should get it from some other kind of gameplay as well. Yeah. When it comes to the crisis, I would love to see the crisis becoming more engaging and more fun, because at the moment I feel the crises are kind of boring and kind of a core. So I would hope that they can find more fun mechanics and let the crisis periods, and I quite enjoy the crisis concept, but I would like it to be an opportunity and an opening, but not just a lot of negatives. And in some of the crises, I feel there are some effects that you can't counter no matter what you do, and that just feels bad. So they have to fix it somehow. Another thing I would love to see is that they should just rename the leader traits that you kind of level up into society values or something. Civilization traits, society values, I don't know, something that lets you feel that you are building a civilization and you evolve and you make choices to adapt your civilization. But the leader, it's just it kills immersion for me, at least, to have a leader who is like 2000 years old and he is still leveling up these traits. So for me, the leader, you can just tone that down, because I role play as the leader. So let me build a civilization, not try to force me into being this leader person and leveling up his traits. Yeah. Another part, they have named all the techs and the civic things masteries. So you have like you research shipbuilding, I guess, and then mastery of shipbuilding. You research writing, and then this mastery for writing and stuff. And it's just so boring to name all of the masteries. So I would say they can still be masteries and be placed under another tech, but they need a name. You have to call them something like I don't know, mathematics and then algebra or something. Yeah. Another part for me is this is a game where you are very much rewarded for making good choices and planning ahead on how you use the map and what you build where. And then you need those map tags from Civilization 6. There is a very good mod at the moment. It's called WLTK's detailed map tags, and I use it all the time, but they should add something like that inside the game so all the players can have fun with the planning features. Because otherwise, without the map tags, it's kind of hard to remember what you want to build where, and suddenly you build wrong stuff there, and you don't understand all the adjacencies, and the game loses some of the fun parts. So this is a minor one, but some of the time you should add like a visual clue to the buttons to show, for instance, if a policy is ready for change, if the resource allocation system is open or not. There is a mod for this as well. It's called Ready or Not, I think, but they should add it in the game. And of course, a lot of people have said it, but Civilization 7 needs better map tooltips, better UI giving information, and there are a lot of mods. I'm gonna name a few of them. Map Tricks is one that's quite good at the moment, and inside the resource window they should add a better resource sorting. There is a mod for this, resource resorts, that gives you more control over how the resources are shown to you. So it's just not this very much resources all over the place. You should have sorting options for them. Yeah. There is a mod that's called Flag Corps that improves the banners of the cities and units, and they should do something like that. This is a quite minor thing, but they should add a non-sticky selection of units, because at the moment the selection kind of sticks and you can't just left click to deselect it, and something like that should be there. Also, when it comes to user interface and information, there are a lot of good mods. One called City Hall, and then there's Suktriktakts simple UI adjustments. You have Mantis, Manifestos, compact production chooser, and these improve the city window and the general UI a lot and gives you a lot of more information, and it just makes the game much more fun. Yeah. And the map generation, it needs to improve, because at launch it was so little variability. It has become a little better, but they need more. Yeah, and it's a lot of good mods offering those opportunities at the moment. And yeah, so they should just see what's out there and learn from it and put it into the game. The same goes for lenses, because this is a strategy game. We want information, we want to plan, we want to understand what we see, and we just need more lenses. And there is this user named Daniel D 1909, and he has made a lens mod pack, and there are also a trade lens, and they just make the game much more much easier to understand. Yeah. One thing I was really missing was when you build a wonder, you don't remember the wonder's effects. And so at the wonder building screen, where you see this little movie of building the wonder, you need the information about what the wonder does, the effects, and the same with the natural wonders. So there is mods, of course, for this as well, but just add it. And also a wonder screen, there is this mod named that gives you all the wonders at once, so you can plan which you should build now and how you should go about building them. It's just more information. Yeah. Okay, another thing is that there are just the natural disasters doing damage to stuff. It's not very fun. It's just tedious to go through this again and again, and they should add some kind of repair notifications or some things, because sometimes you forget about it and a lot of time goes, and it's not that fun to kind of lose the game just because you don't remember to repair some buildings, to me at least. So some information. The Civilopedia and nested tooltips, I would like to see that improved. Relationships between different civilizations. There is this mod, Global Relations Panel by Slothots, and it just makes the civilization so much more alive, so much more understandable when you know the relations they have to the other players, where you can see, oh, those two are in a war now and those are not, and those are allied. And I just don't understand why they have it don't have it in the base game. When you open the memento window, when you start a new civilization run, there should be a search and filter option. There is a mod, Matifus Memento Filter, that does this, but they should add it into the base game. And of course, this one, the next one, is a big one, because frankly, I don't understand why they just didn't do it at launch. But when you choose policies and when you choose tone focuses, you don't get any information about the effects of your choice, and some of them can be quite tricky to understand or to calculate what the effects will be. So they just have this, they should add this preview about what yields you will get. Leonard Factory's policy yield previews does that for the policies, and enhanced town focus info, that mod, it does it for the towns. But of course, this should be in the base game. We want information. We want to know what our choices will give us, and why we get the effects we get. Yeah. I was also surprised they hadn't added the tech cost and the civic progress cost because sometimes I get information, I will get like 25 extra signs, 50 extra signs, and I want to check if that is enough or not enough, or how it is with the text I am researching or the civics I'm researching. And at the moment, you just have to guess from the buildings, from the pictures, how much it is. So there is this mod, detailed tech civic progress, and they should add something like that in the game as well. Okay, now so we should also talk about the great persons, because I think the great person mechanics in Civ 7, it's just garbage. It was one of my favorite parts of Civilization 5, Civilization 6, but the present system, it's just boring, it's just bad. You get some of the civilizations, they get these cheap, weird, random persons that does something, might do something good, might do something bad, or not that good. But in Civ 6, you had this race, you had this one great person, and you really wanted it because he was important for your strategy, and you pooled all your resources to get him, and you even built wonders of the world to get him, and it took a lot of planning and execution. But in Civ 7, you're just like, okay, I've built everything else, now I build some random great persons and hope they have this cool extra to that, but it's not any good. It's very, very bad, and they should just look at the two last games, Civ 5, Civ 6, and just take something from there and put it into Civ 7, and it will be a better game entirely. And this also goes for the wonders. That's one of my favorite parts of every Civ game. It's to build those wonders of the world, but I feel in Civ 7 they should take a bit longer to build them, so you actually feel an accomplishment when you succeed building them, and they should be a bit better, a bit more unique, because I feel when you complete a wonder, you should feel an accomplishment, and you should get something game changing, like in Civ 6. When you build the pyramids, you get a builder, or maybe two builders. Yeah. And I think when you build the pyramids in Civ 5, you get a settler. So you should get something like that, because that's fun and that feels important, and you feel like, wow, I got another builder, I'm gonna go use it, and then I always want to build the pyramids. Yeah. And another big problem for me in Civ 7 is none of the resources feel important enough that you go to war for them, that you look at the map, you plan ahead, you think, oh, I'm gonna rush here because I need this resource, I need this, because they were in Civ 6, they were gatekeeping, they were game changing, you needed those strategic resources, and you actually went to war because, my God, he's not gonna get it, I'm gonna get it. And then it just felt fun, it felt interesting and rewarding. And at the moment I feel the Lux, the resources, they can be quite good, the system they have now for luxury resources, but not for strategic resources, and they need to add this map control part of the game, so you feel the need to fight for hotspots where the most important resources are hidden. I would also see some possibility to research and build wonders and research techs from earlier ages when you go to another era. I know that might be hard in the ages systems, but I just feel it feels kind of bad when you don't when you're not able to do it, and I hope they someday can add a possibility for that. And then, and this may be one of my biggest ones, I would like them to add more variation and a bit of randomness to the age, progress, legacy path stuff. So that, for instance, you could have like 3 sets of progression goals for each path with roughly the same difficulty, and maybe some of it even open to player choice, so that the set of goals you get would be rather unique for each playthrough and each era. So you have this element of interest and surprise. Okay, which ones will I get now? How will the next era be? What should I do? And an element of surprise and randomness that would make it more exciting and engaging, and the replayability of the game would be a lot better. I also think they should add more paths. We have 4 now, but I think we need a religious path, a diplomatic path, and then the culture path. You can take away some of what is more religious now, so it gets more unique. Personally, I would like wonder building to be part of all eras, so that you can like build wonders in the antiquity, build wonders in exploration age, continue building wonders in the modern age, because I think that's so fun. So for me, that should be like you can do that all the time, but you can also choose something else and maybe a bit of randomness, so that sometimes you get it, sometimes you get something else. I don't know. You should also make the legacy paths more exclusive, so that if I take this one, I won't be able to take that one. So you can't rush all of them at the same time, because that just feels so boring, so samey when you are when you can take everything. So they should make it more expensive, and the expenses should add, so that for each one you lock, you have fewer left that you can unlock, or something like that. Maybe that you can only unlock 6 in an age, so you have to choose, because that makes it fun, that makes it strategic, that is player choice. But as of now, when you just rush and you get everything, then it feels samey. So, well, I think that concludes my list. So I would say if all these things, or at least a lot of them, would be fixed, I would love Civ 7. And at the moment, I'm having fun with it. I'm looking forward to the patches. I play it from time to time. But if they would go through a list like this and add or adjust a lot of these variables, I think Civ 7 can be fixed. I think it can be saved and improved. And I think it can be the magnificent game that we thought and hoped it would be. Okay, that's all for now. This is the Strategy Gaming Podcast. I'm Olafur the Viking, and take care. Goodbye.